Tiffany Henyard has hit rock bottom, and it's a mess you won't believe. Once spending lavishly on city-funded trips and extravagant banners, she's now begging for cash on GoFundMe to sustain her high-flying lifestyle. The shocking part? She's supposedly been borrowing millions and using city assets as collateral. As creditors close in and the FBI investigates, Tiffany's fall from grace is dramatic. How did a mayor with such grandiose spending end up desperate for handouts? Stay tuned as we reveal the full story behind her shocking downfall and the turmoil left in her wake. Welcome to the channel. Tiffany Henyard is in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. From extravagant spending to a GoFundMe begging spree, this scandal has it all. Tiffany went from living lavishly on taxpayer dollars to begging for money to maintain her lifestyle. But that's not all. Allegations of financial mismanagement and corruption are swirling. How did things spiral so out of control? Stick around as we uncover the chaos behind Tiffany's fall from grace. Hit that subscribe button and don't miss a moment of this unfolding drama. Alright, let's set the scene. Tiffany Henyard was living the high life, and we're not talking about just a few fancy dinners here. This was full-on extravagance, with taxpayer money flowing like water. Tiffany didn't just spend, she splurged. Her spending habits were so outlandish, they bordered on the ridiculous. Take, for example, her $199,000 worth of welcome banners. That's nearly $200,000 on banners alone. In a town where the average household barely makes $30,000 a year, this kind of spending was not just excessive, it was absurd. She didn't stop there. Tiffany spent $99,000 on a single welcome banner and another $119,000 on banners featuring her own face. Yes, you heard that right. She thought it was a good idea to plaster her face across banners that cost more than some people make in several years. To put it into perspective, that's like spending your entire annual salary just to have your face on a bunch of banners. Talk about a disconnect from reality. While Tiffany was living it up, the town of Dalton was facing serious financial strain. Picture this. The fire department hadn't had a proper contract for 5 years. That's right, 5 years without a decent deal for the brave firefighters risking their lives daily. Meanwhile, Tiffany was spending hundreds of thousands on her security detail and high-profile trips. The disparity was shocking. Tiffany was jet-setting to Vegas, living like a celebrity, while the firefighters and other essential services in Dalton were struggling. To add insult to injury, Tiffany's security detail was costing taxpayers a fortune. The details of her security team's expenses were eye-watering. Some officers were pulling in over $133,000 in a single pay period, largely thanks to overtime. That's more than what many people make in several years. It's clear that Tiffany's priorities were seriously out of whack. Instead of addressing the town's financial needs, she was busy indulging in high-cost luxuries. But Tiffany's financial misadventures didn't end with lavish spending. She took it a step further by allegedly borrowing millions of dollars and using city infrastructure as collateral. That's right, she put public property up to secure her loans. The implications of this are huge. Now, creditors are eyeing Dalton's infrastructure, hoping to seize it to recoup their losses. This kind of financial maneuvering has left Dalton in a precarious position, with its assets at risk. The town's financial stability has been severely compromised. Tiffany's extravagant borrowing has led to a situation where the town's essential services are on the brink of collapse. With public infrastructure on the line and debts mounting, Dalton's residents are facing an uncertain future. The fallout from Tiffany's actions has been catastrophic, and the town is struggling to stay afloat. If you thought the spending was out of control, the Section 8 scandal takes things to a whole new level. Allegedly, Tiffany was making a pretty penny by exploiting Section 8 housing. She owned a property meant to provide affordable housing for low-income individuals. However, instead of maintaining the property, Tiffany reportedly allowed it to fall into disrepair. Tenants were living in conditions that were far from acceptable: mold, water damage, you name it. By November 2019, the property was declared uninhabitable, but Tiffany kept cashing in on government payments. Inspections revealed a pattern of neglect, with Tiffany turning a blind eye to serious issues. It's appalling to think that while she was living in luxury, tenants were suffering in deplorable conditions. Tiffany's alleged exploitation of Section 8 housing paints a troubling picture of her priorities and ethics. With all this controversy, it's no surprise that the FBI has gotten involved. Tiffany's finances are now under federal scrutiny, and the investigation is uncovering more than anyone anticipated. The feds have issued subpoenas, digging deep into both Tiffany's personal finances and the town's financial dealings. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot is overseeing the investigation, and she's known for her no-nonsense approach. The investigation is revealing a shocking amount of alleged misuse of taxpayer money. Tiffany reportedly used funds for extravagant personal perks, luxury trips, a high-profile security team, and more. The extent of her alleged financial misconduct is staggering. As the investigation unfolds, it's becoming clear that Tiffany's financial practices were far from transparent. Here's where things take a turn for the bizarre. Tiffany has essentially vanished from the public eye. She's been Mia from board meetings and public appearances, skipping out on 25 meetings. It's like she's pulling a Houdini act, disappearing while leaving Dalton in chaos. The village board had to appoint a temporary mayor just to keep things running. Meanwhile, Dalton is drowning in debt and without clear leadership. The situation is even more complicated because Tiffany's disappearance has left a leadership vacuum. With no clear direction or authority, Dalton's residents are facing an uncertain future. The town is struggling to manage its finances and provide essential services without Tiffany's guidance. It's like she left a gaping hole in the town's administration, and the effects are being felt across the community. As if things weren't complicated enough, Tiffany is playing the blame game. She's pointing fingers at her former chief aide, Keith Freeman, claiming he was responsible for the financial decisions that led to this mess. But let's be real, when you're the mayor, the buck stops with you. You can't just pass the blame and hope it all goes away. Tiffany is also facing lawsuits from former employees and business owners. Allegations include wrongful termination and retaliation. One former HR manager claims she was fired for refusing to hide public records, while another employee alleges he was let go for not going along with a scheme to replace a school attorney. It seems Tiffany was running Dalton like her personal kingdom, and anyone who didn't toe the line faced serious consequences. Now, let's talk about Tiffany's GoFundMe page. Yes, you heard that right. The same woman who blew millions on extravagant trips and security details is now begging for cash online. She's asking for donations to get a refund for those $119,000 welcome banners and her Vegas getaways. The audacity of it all. People are not holding back their opinions. They're mocking her attempts to seek sympathy and questioning how she could go from a life of luxury to asking for handouts. There's even speculation that the GoFundMe is just another scam, a desperate attempt to raise some cash before disappearing again. It's hard to imagine how Tiffany thought this would help her image, given the sheer scale of her alleged financial misconduct. While Tiffany is out here trying to drum up sympathy, Dalton is still grappling with the fallout. The police department's cars are at risk of repossession, the fire department is without a contract, and the town's credit is in shambles. Tiffany's GoFundMe might have raised $155,000, but that's a drop in the ocean compared to the millions she owes. The town's financial woes are far from over, and the situation remains dire. Dalton's residents are left dealing with the consequences of Tiffany's actions. Essential services are at risk, and the town's future is uncertain. The financial strain on the community is significant, and it's unclear how long it will take for Dalton to recover. The impacts of Tiffany's alleged mismanagement is being felt across the town, and the road to recovery is likely to be a long one. The public reaction to Tiffany's downfall has been intense. People are taking to social media to express their anger and frustration. Comments are flooding in, criticizing Tiffany for her arrogance and lavish lifestyle. Many are questioning how she thought she could get away with treating the town's funds like her personal bank account. Some are even speculating that Tiffany's political connections and identity might be influencing the lack of consequences she's facing. There's a sense that she's not being held fully accountable for her actions, and this has fueled further outrage among the public. The outcry reflects a broader frustration with political figures who seem to think they're above the law. So there you have it, folks, a wild ride through Tiffany Henyard's fall from grace. From a life of luxury to begging for cash online, her story is a whirlwind of scandal and drama. The FBI is on her trail, Dalton is in turmoil, and Tiffany's reputation is in tatters. It's a cautionary tale of how quickly things can unravel when you think the rules don't apply to you. What do you think about Tiffany's downfall? Is she getting what she deserves, or is there more to this story than meets the eye? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for check out our next video for more juicy updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.